All right. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing really well, and welcome to another episode of Pet Style Podcast. Today is the second episode, and we will going to be talking about how you get ready to have a new pet. So we're gonna be talking about how to choose a new pet, how to get your house ready, what breed is the best one for you. So there is a lot of things to cover. We also gonna start the podcast talking a little bit about the brand. If you were here in the first episode, you see that we choose a name for the podcast. Today I bring like a couple of ideas of styles and logos, and we're gonna be choosing them in the first minutes of the podcast, and then after that we're gonna jump and dive in the theme of today. So as always, we're here with Victor. So Victor, how are you doing? How do you? Yeah, how are you doing?
Good. Hi, everybody. How you guys doing? I'm doing good, thank you. Doing all right. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
excited for
that's
this.
nice. Yeah. How was your week?
It's been good. It's been good. School, it's been good. No complaints here. Yeah, not less hectic this week at school.
No, that's nice. That's nice. So yeah, so as I say, we have a lot of things to cover. So let's just start. What do you think if we start like watching some brands and some ideas for the podcast?
Sounds like a good idea. Let's do it.
Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna also try to describe what you're seeing for the people in the that are listening to us and are not able to watch the videos. And yeah, before to start, I also want to say when I was editing the last podcast, I just realized that when I was start speaking, I just was going so fast. But I want to people be able to understand. So please, Victor, if you hear that I'm going like high speed, please let me know and I will slow down a little bit because I don't want to be like not allowing people to understand what I'm saying. Okay. I
Okay.
guess that I guess that's a problem from my first language is Spanish. We used to speak faster. The way you speak in Spanish is faster than English. So I'm trying to when I'm learning English, normally I'm trying to go at the same speed I will go when I speak in Spanish. That's something I need to work on. So it will help me a lot if you let me know.
Okay, I will try my best.
No, okay. So, as far as how we say last week, the name of the podcast is Pets Talk Podcast, and that's our website. We already have it. It's petstalkpodcast.com. You will see that below, like a little thing here. But as far as today, when we're recording, we don't have the website ready yet because we don't have a logo or a brand style. So that's what we're gonna decide, and then we're gonna be able to start publishing the episodes and everything is going to be ready. So when we were talking last week, we were saying, or the last episode for you guys, we were saying about how we want this podcast to be like a safe place for all. It's a place to come and learn. It's not exactly like we know everything. We're gonna be growing and developing ourselves. Also, while we're doing the research for the podcast, we also gonna be learning from the questions you ask us. Of course, Victor is a vet and he knows a lot, but at the end of the day, there
Almost bet.
is always a lot of room to improve, right? So that's something that we want to show with our brand, with our logos, with how we present this podcast to you. So when we get to that point, I see three different options to show that, and there are like three different styles. The first one is this that I want to show you, Victor, is the kindergarten. So if you see here, we have like small shapes, we have like circular shapes, we have like tree shapes, but they are not like totally, they are not like realistic. They are more like geometric shapes, shades, and then we have like very vivid colors like whites, pinks, yellows, and that what I want to express with this style is the innocence that we have, or the innocence of someone that is in developing. I don't know if that makes sense. So the music
Yeah.
will be similar to kind of we're gonna express like that innocence. So I don't know, what do you think about this one? Or do you want me to show the three options and then at the end tell me what you think?
Well, I think this one is good. I think that some of our audience might think that the music might be a little bit less mature. I like the style of the logo itself, but let's see what the other ones is. make a
Okay.
decision. Yeah.
Yeah. Another option that I have is the bohemian or boho style. We also were talking like this podcast should be like a way out of the routine. Like you are immersing your work in the bed hospital, and I'm like immersing my job to thinking in production and I want this space to be like okay, let's get out of the routine and this is going to be an adventure to the farm or a trail day, something like that. So I see this other style that is the bohemian style when we have a lot of plants, a lot of whites and brownish colors. Did we have like these shades and shapes of like abstract concepts? It's really nice. To be honest, this is the logo that I like the least because it doesn't tell too much about pets. But at the end of the day, the style and what it represents, I like it because it's more like a travel outside. I don't know. It's like like breaking the routine and go to a safe place, like out of everything in this an adventurous place. And of course, for this, we're gonna be using music like more bohemian, like music from the hippie story. Like we're gonna be using like a lot of guitars or instruments. I don't know. What do you think about this?
The style of the logo, I like the other one more. I like the kindergarten one more for the style of the logo. The colors is nice, and I like the the concept of kind of more earthy and things like that. I like that idea. But let's see the third one. Let's see.
Okay. And this third one, I let it for the end just because this is my favorite one. So if you see, it kind of mix both concepts in one. And it's like when you're learning and when you want to show like that growing sense, you can also do it from a different perspective. And it's like, okay, we are not that innocent. We're an adult. And I think that our public is adult public. So when we're learning and we're like more grown up, where we go to learn? Normally we go to school, we go to college, and then when we hang out in the college, we normally do it or in the library or in the coffee or in a cafe or something like that. So I was thinking in that concept too. What about a library coffee concept when we have a little bit more? It's more a relaxed environment when we have more warm lights, when we have more um, like brownish colors, more leather, wood texture, but it's not like that deep in the spectrum as the Bohemian. It's more like it's more, I don't know, it's like a chill environment. And that's what I want to show with this. It's a place when you go, when you read a book to learn, when you sit and study for I don't know, whatever test you have. And that's what I want to express here is a place when people can come with us, come sit with us, drink a coffee or whatever they want, a virtual coffee with us, and learn a little bit about pets. And it's like that concept that I want to say. And if you see the logo, it has also that draws of the kindergarten one, but also it's a little bit more strong, it's more bold, it's a little bit more mastered. So I don't know what do you think about this.
I agree. I like this. This is my favorite one too. I like the relaxed vibes. I like the it feels more welcoming as far as like learning, and I feel like it's just more relaxed, more chill. I like the idea of a coffee shop, and that's for you. I feel like when you relax, that's when you can learn the best. So
Yeah.
I
Okay.
like this.
So it looks like we already have a brand identity for a podcast, for Pet Stop podcast. So we're gonna be trying to, and when you're watching this or listening this, you're gonna start seeing like this vibe when you hear the music of the intro or the outro. When you go to our website, Pet Stop Podcast, you're gonna see like this logo and you're gonna see like these kind of colors and this kind of vibe. So I'm so happy. I feel so happy that now we have a logo, an identity, a name. I guess we're ready to roll, man. I'm so
Yeah.
happy. Yeah, this is a part that I love to do, and it's like that creative vibe and this creative job when you can do the brand, when you can like design something. I love to do that. And that's also something that I'm gonna do when we're doing this podcast. I don't only gonna design, I also gonna be trying to bring that information that you have in an easy way for every one of us. Kind of the disencrypted, I don't know, the encrypted, I don't know, like all that
Yeah.
information, and in a way that everyone can understand, even if that is a little bit abstract sometimes. I don't know if that makes sense what I'm saying.
No, it makes sense.
But
I
yeah,
feel like, yeah,
yeah.
for
So
sure,
I'm
it's
so
like trying
excited.
more accessible.
Yeah. So I'm so excited, but let's dive in what we come here today to talk about. So thank you everyone for staying with us like these first 10 minutes. I know it's not very related with dogs or with cats or with animals, but it's something that we have to do. And I love to do that with you guys because this is more like making you part of this process. And that's something I love. Like you're not just here listening to us, you're gonna be here creating this space with us. Also, if you think something different about the style or if you want to give us your opinion, you can do it in the comments below. You also have the feedback form in the description and in the website. And you can let us know what you think. I'm excited to see what do you think about the logo, what do you think about the brand, what do you think about the name. So please go to the form and let us know, or let just go to the comments and let us know what do you think about that. Okay, so let's start to what we come here. What do you think about that? Are you ready, Victor, to talk about
I'm
what we
ready.
really come here? That's amazing. So today we're going to be talking about bringing a new pet to your house. So how do you want to address this subject? How you want to start talking, and what topics are we covering today?
Well, let me start. Well, we're gonna go over actually preparing your home, choosing the right breed for you. What kind of special care does a dog or cat need? Let's see. Considering does the dog fit your lifestyle? What type of dog should you get, like adult or puppy? What size of dog is right for you? Considering the financials, can you afford a
Yeah.
dog? Where can you find a dog?
Okay. That's a lot of themes to cover today, and if we're not able to finish
Feel
them,
like,
we're gonna be taking like a second episode of this. But
yeah,
yeah, there is
a
a
lot.
lot of things.
Some of the stuff is like short, like quick.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, so I guess I have a first question before, and it's like, okay, you're this lonely person living your lonely life, so sad, and you decide that it's time to have a friend in your life to bring life to all your days, to bring life to your routines, and you decide to get a dog or a cat or a pet. What do you think is the first considerations you need to have? Or what is the first thing that needs to cross your mind at the moment when you make that decision?
Question. As you know, being a dog or cat is a big commitment. So you got to understand how much commitment you had to bring in. Because I think a lot of people think, okay, it might be easy
Mhm.
bringing on a home dog or cat, but it can be overwhelming. Okay. But
Right.
there's also got to consider how much love and joy it brings into your life. This could be gratifying. So I think that's the first thing that should be crossing your mind.
Yeah, right, right. It's like that moment when you say, "Oh, that fluffy thing, I really want to pet that thing a lot," and then you only are thinking in the positive thing, like you're gonna stay with him or with her all the time. You're gonna bring joy, but then at the end of the day, that little thing also poops, also peeps, also eat, also need to play, also need to go out, also need to go to the doctor. There is a lot of things behind that fluffy thing that you just want to love. But of course, it's as you're saying, it is true. Like this animal, like for example, when I get Nico, it was like for a moment of my life when I was so lonely, right? And then one day it was like this. I have like this crazy idea. Okay, I want a dog, and I just get a see like an Instagram post like, "Hey, I'm giving this dog for adoption. Who wants it?" And I can't confess, I didn't think, and I say I want him. And after that day, I was never alone anymore. So that's the nice thing. You have a friend forever, or at least for the time they live by your side. But also there is a lot of responsibilities. For example, with Nico, I just see a cute, fluffy friend. If Nico is a husky, a Siberian husky. I didn't think that breed has a lot of energy. I didn't think like Nico could be sick. I didn't think in anything. I just think in have my dog. Of course, I've been having dogs for all my life, so I was I already knew it. But if you're new to that, you might not know it. And I get a lot of surprises with Nico that we're going to be talking later. So, yeah, I'm totally agree. It's really nice, but you also need to understand that there is a lot of commitment behind that decision. And it is not just like taking the poop out of the floor when he poops. That's the least Even if sometimes it looks like, oh, that's the worst. No, that's the surface of the iceberg. There is a lot of another things behind, but it's really
Yeah,
nice to have them.
exactly. Yeah. And it just takes time for them to settle into routine at first. It's going to depend, of course, the dog's past experiences. You might get a shelter dog, or if you're purchasing a dog from a breeder, those things might also, maybe they've already been in different homes already. But the adjustment period could last days, weeks, or even months. So you got prepared for that too. To be
Mm,
knowing that could take some time.
yeah,
And this is especially true for pets who have been in like multiple houses or shelters. So you need to have patience. That's really important.
yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, and they want, you want them to feel comfortable in your home. You want to make it easier to build a strong and trusting bond with them. We want you guys to have a lifetime of good manners, sociability, and behavioral and physical health for your pet. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I want to show you something. I don't know if this is gonna turn on because I was not ready for this. I guess this is the moment when I start to improvise. I'm sorry, Victor.
oh,
Sorry,
good.
guys.
Yeah. I see.
You know, when you have a dog like Nico, even Nico today is like 1 year and a half, and you think like, okay, he's settled down. He's a really good dog. He's a nice dog. Well, look what I find this week when I get to my house. I don't know if you can see it. If you
Oh,
cannot see it, I'm gonna put this in the notes later. That's a picture
yeah.
of Nico when I get house, and a lot of destruction around. He like take literally my grandma's cookbook, and it's been like in my life, in my family since before I born, and
Wow. Oh, no.
she bring it home like from Colombia. Like the last time she came, it was her gift to me. Like this is her family knowledge of food, and she gave me like the recipe book. And Nico was able, when I was out working, was able to get it and destroyed it. And it was
Oh,
not just that; he also destroyed my tablet for the second time in the last 3 months. So this is the
oh,
second
no.
tablet he destroyed in 2 months. And that's when you say, well, that's the kind of things you don't think when you're getting a dog. And that's why patience is the key with them, because at the end it's just funny. You know, it's
Yeah.
at the beginning you get there and you're so mad with your puppy or your kitty or whatever for the things they break. But then at the end it's like, hey, it's part of my problem to let it in a place when they can reach it. I was able to take that book, the pieces of the book, and kind of rescan it and reprint it, and it is
Oh,
kind of
good.
similar, but it's not the same. But yeah, it's crazy sometimes to have dogs, but they are lovely.
They are. Yeah. I'm really sorry that happened to you, man. That's terrible. Well, I'm glad that you're at least able to salvage some of it because that's
Yeah,
terrible.
at least I can get the cookbook back. But
Yeah.
that's the second tablet I have. That's gonna be the third tablet I'm gonna be buying in these 3 months.
Oh
So
my god.
I honestly think that Nico wants to be an influencer. Nico wants to have his own podcast. You know, it was like probably reading through the recipes and say, okay, now it's time for me to put them on Instagram.
He's
Now
a
it's
character.
he, yeah, he doesn't know how to use the tablet yet, but he will get there. Maybe with the 5 or 6 he destroy.
Yeah. Maybe. So with that, I wanted to go into what's choosing the right breed for you. That's something that's really important. Um,
Mm,
So I think things that could basically influence what breed you choose could be like whether or not the dog drools or slobbers, whether they tend to snore, how much the dog sheds. So some breeds are less troublesome for people with pet allergies too. While they're not like truly non-allergenic or hypoallergenic, these breeds tend to shed less and produce less dander. So that could be helpful for some people. Studies show that there's no significant difference in the levels of the main dog allergen, which is the CAN F1 if people are interested. So there's no difference between that across different breeds, interestingly enough. But some breeds are less troublesome for people with pet allergies.
okay.
So yeah, I think that's really
So
interesting. I learned
so
that.
that means that, let me see if I understand. If it doesn't depend on the breed for the allergies, I mean the breed of the
So
pet doesn't. Yeah.
okay, so studies have shown that there are some breeds that are less troublesome, so they cause less problems for people with pet allergies. Okay,
Okay.
but there is no difference in the level of the allergen. The
Okay.
actual protein that causes the allergy is the same for all the dogs, all the across different breeds. So it's the
Okay.
same. So I guess I don't know what it is that makes it less a problem for some people. but they're not truly non-allergenic and they're not truly hypoallergenic.
So they are like kind of the same to other breeds. It's just like for some reason maybe they don't shed that much and
Yeah,
they don't release that protein that much to the environment or something like that. And that's when you
exactly.
realize and you okay. Well, that's good to know. So you can say all the dogs have the same amount of allergens. It's just not all of them release that allergen. Would that make sense?
Right.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
That's why
I
I
didn't know
understand.
that.
Yeah. It seems like there's less shedding of the dander, but if
Okay.
they produce the same levels of that allergen, they have the same level of the CAN F1, I think I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's I guess the allergen that causes people to have allergies. And I don't know
Oh.
about cats, and I think cat allergies might be more common.
Uh-huh.
So breed tendencies are really important.
Okay. So for example, my one of my cousins, she had like four Labradoodles because they are like hypoallergenic.
Mm.
And sometimes when I go to her house to visit, she lives in Connecticut. When we go there to visit her, I mean, those dogs are like super, super, super friendly, like super spoiled. And they are like all the time in your lap, like, okay, pet me, please. And they put like this gigantic paw they have on top of you. And it's like, it's time to pet me. And you can have like the four dogs around you all the time. But that's true that I never get like any little bit of allergic. Even my mom's husband that is like super allergic to dogs or to animals.
Mm.
I never seen him like having an allergy close to them. But in the other hand, Nico, it's especially like around March or October, he's shedding a lot. And I get the
Uh,
first time when I get him, I wasn't like used to that. I never have a dog that shed that much. And it was like couple of weeks, 3 weeks after I get him, I was having a huge rhinitis, crazy. Like I don't know how to say. Like I have a lot of allergy in my
mm.
nose. But then it was like I just get used to it because today that's not a problem for me. And that's a question I have. Do humans can adapt to that allergens or?
Good question. I think there's like desensitization that can occur, but I think it has to be like slow or maybe not getting so much allergens all at once. I know like people like if people have allergies, they can give like a injection that desensitizes you to an allergen.
Well, there is
I
also
don't know.
something true about the human body and if someone is listening this and know a little bit better, let us know. But as far as I know, we have something that we call homeostasis, right? And it's like our body wants to be like in equilibrium and it tries to create an equilibrium in the physiology. I can use some words too, and that means that normally when you get exposed to an allergen or a something for a certain amount of time, your body like what wanted to do is like trying to normalize that, so it can be doing like a control, and it could be a positive control or a negative control, and that means like okay, there is this allergen in my environment, right? And this allergen is like interacting with my receptors of my cells of my nose or whatever, and it's creating me a reaction. So what the body do is a negative control, and it start taking all that receptors out of the surface of the cell, and that way when the allergen gets to the cell, they don't have that much receptors outside to react with. And that's what
Mm,
helps the body to get to that equilibrium. And I guess that's what happened with me, for example, with Nico. Like you can get it's something that you shouldn't be doing because sometimes the allergic reaction could be that shocking that can cause you death. But if it is not something that bad for you, and that's the reason why they recommend to use small doses of allergens every time. But if it is something not that critical for your body, when you get exposed to the allergen with the time, you're gonna start getting this sensitized just because your body is doing like this homeostasis control to make everything like back to normal. And that happened the same when you do exercise. That happened the same when you start decreasing your calorie ingestion. Like you start seeing that you change, but after 2 3 months, your body get like used to it, and then you start losing weight or whatever we done. But that's not what we've come to talk about. Homeostasis is really cool. It's in the body. The human body is really nice how it works, but we're talking about pets today.
the important thing is the most important thing for that I would say is talk to your doctor, your primary care physician, also,
Mhm.
your doctor. about it because you never want to expose yourself to an allergen that might cause a really big
Yeah.
problem. Like if you have a peanut allergy, don't expose yourself to peanuts. You could,
Oh, yeah.
it could be extremely dangerous. And I
Yeah.
know I understand your point of view absolutely. And I think yeah, definitely talk to your doctor about it before doing any changes to your routine or what you're doing at home. But I agree with you. Yeah, that it could be desensitization occurring, but it's always you don't
Yeah.
want to do it in a controlled fashion,
Yeah.
with the professional. Yeah.
Yeah. It is like I'm saying. It's when the allergen is not that's shocking. That's the dangerous part. If you get immersed in a with an allergen that is causing you like a shock reaction, well, you should be eating like shrimps every day if you know that you're allergic to it. You're gonna die. So yeah, you need to talk with your doctor. But yeah, as far as when you're talking about pets or bringing someone to your house, if you see that you are starting to have allergic, that kind of respiratory allergies and that they're caused for pets, they are normally something that you can discuss with your doctor and you can address if you want to have a pet with you. That shouldn't be that's normally something that the body can get used to. And then do you know some breeds that are less that
Yeah,
cause less reactions?
I do. I have a long list. I don't know if you want me to read all of it, but the
Maybe.
Labradoodle, I don't have the
Okay.
Labradoodle on there, but I do have Poodle and
Okay.
miniature Poodle on there. So and they're, Labradoodles are part Poodle, so that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
But I have the Affenpinscher, American Hairless Terrier, which I never heard about, Bedlington Terrier, they're really interesting. They look like sheep.
Okay.
Bichon, the Bolognese or Bolognese. There's one
Bolognese.
Bouvier de Flandre. I don't know if I'm saying that correct, like a French word. And then the Chinese crested, that one's very has very little hair, so that would make
Okay.
sense. There's one called the Coton de Tulier, and there's one called the Dandy
Oh
Dinmont
wow.
Terrier. I never heard that one either. Giant
Okay.
Schnauzer. There's also the Havanese Irish Water Spaniel. There's one called Alagoto Romagnolo. I've seen that one before. It sounds
Oh
very
really?
fancy.
How they
Yeah,
are?
they don't look as fancy as I thought they were going to be, but they are fancy.
I got you. And how about what kind of dogs are in the opposite more if you know if you know.
I don't know. I don't know if there's been anything that studied that before. I have no idea. There's
Okay.
more that are but
Okay, but let's do something then. In the newsletter for the people that joins to the newsletter, we can send the whole
yeah,
list of animals that breeds that are less likely to cause allergies, and that way you can have something. That way we know that Labradoodles, Doodles, Poodles, they are kind and dogs like that, and we discuss here that dogs like can cause less allergic, but you're gonna have the whole list in the newsletter if you join.
yeah.
And that way you can see if your fancy French dog, it's gonna be the right one for you.
And I might be saying the names wrong, so it's probably better that you read it anyway.
Yeah,
Do you want me to read off the ones that drool and slobber more?
sure. We can say like
Yeah.
couple, and then as I said, we're gonna send all the list of the breeds of
Yeah.
that. So yeah,
Yes, the ones that drool are the ones that you might be thinking of already, like bloodhounds or basset hounds. There's
okay,
a black
that
and
makes
white
sense.
coonhound, blue tick coonhound, the boxer, of course, bull mastiffs, Chinese Shar-Pei, Clumber Spaniel, Dog de Bordeaux, English Bulldog, English Setter, French Bulldog, Great Dane, Great Pyrenees, Irish Water Spaniel. There's one called a Cuba.
So those are going to be like your trolling dogs. Like it's
Yeah.
time to eat, and you're gonna see the lot of saliva coming outside of their mouth, and
Oh
all
yeah.
the time. They are lovely too, but you're gonna have a wet floor more often than if you get a different breed of dog. What
Yeah,
other list do you have?
and there's more for the drooling, but I'll go on to the next one. Is snoring. I think that's important
Uh,
because some people hate dogs that snore. So, and I understand that
So
sometimes
those are yeah, those are the ones that you don't gonna have in your bedroom.
and those are the ones that usually have a flatter face, of course. As you can
Okay.
imagine, like a bulldog, we call those brachycephalic breeds,
Hmm.
which just like a short face. And so the face is kind of smushed in like a pug, Boston Terrier, Boxer, Chinese Shar-Pei, English Bulldog, English Toy Spaniel, French Bulldog, Pekingese, and the Shih Tzu. So those are the
Then I
ones.
have a question about that breed too.
Which
Well,
one?
that breed needs like do they have like a special care, right? If you're thinking have a bulldog or a boxer, you need to know that you need to how you need to take care, because that's actually one of the reasons when I see those breeds before, I say like, oh, it will be nice to have a bulldog. But then I always like go back and say, no, I maybe want a different breed, because I know they have a lot of care, but I don't know nothing about that.
Oh, there's a long list of things that French bulldogs, English bulldogs can have, problems they can have.
Hmm.
I can go into a few things. Like the biggest thing, there's a disease. One of the biggest things I would say is a disease called brachycephalic obstructive airway syndrome, or BAOS, or BAOS, or
Hmm.
bowels. Anyways, BAOS. So that is basically, since their face is mushed in, everything inside their head is mushed as well. There is
Okay.
more tissue, all that tissue that's there, it's just pushed together.
Oh, wow.
Now their airway, the way they breathe, is there's more stuff in the way,
Hmm.
so it's harder for them to breathe. Some dogs in that breed are worse than others. So if you are concerned, you can always talk to your veterinarian so they can examine them.
Hmm.
And there are ways to fix it. There are surgeries that can do that. If they have that type of issue, never breed them, because that's gonna be hereditary. So their puppies are gonna have the same problem again too.
Oh,
And
wow.
things that they have are like the palate is too long for their head. Their nose is closed in, so makes it harder to breathe as well. Their nares.
Yeah. But they also, if and let me know if I'm right or wrong. But I heard they also are like these kind of dogs that they cannot do a lot of exercise because it can be a little bit hard for them to breathe. So that could be a good breed for people that is not very active. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that I think that's correct. Yeah, I think some bulldogs look better than others. Sometimes they're born with
Hmm.
a better airway, but in general, yeah, I would say that the more you exercise, of course, the more air you need, right? You start breathing heavy because you need more oxygen when you're exercising. So if you're having a problem breathing, that can be a problem for your body.
Hmm.
So the dog is those more obstruction, is better to not go to too heavy exercise. So
Yeah.
people that want to exercise with your dog, maybe you might consider that.
Okay.
You can always talk to your veterinarian to discuss about what's best for you as well. But there are other things also with bulldogs. They have more skin problems as well.
Okay, so now I have a question. Normally, when you're getting a dog, and it comes from what we're talking about. Normally, when you get a dog, you normally get the dog and then you're looking for a veterinarian. But it looks like it should be the opposite way. Like you first get a veterinarian and then try to find your best dog. What do you think about that?
I would recommend talking to a veterinarian first to
Okay.
look for a dog. Sometimes it's hard to find the veterinarians that you might trust. Maybe talk to your friends, see
Hmm.
what they recommend as far as veterinarians go. And I'm still in vet school right now, so I'm not going to be the one that you might want to talk to yet.
Oh,
but
come on, you're gonna be in vet school for 2 months more, or 3 months more. Then after that, you're gonna be outside. 3 months more. You're almost done.
But yeah, I think it is important to talk about these things, about not just what breed you're going to want to get or what dog you want to get, where you're going to get it from, but also how to prepare your home for a dog or cat, and seeing if that's the right choice for you. Because once you've already chosen a pet, it might be very difficult to then make changes. So I think preemptive approach to it, talking to somebody about it, might be best. So that way you can choose what's best for you and your family before you make a decision.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now that we're getting to that point, what do you think if we jump to the next topic and see what breed should you, let's say, how you get ready your house for your dogs, or right? Do you think that's good?
Oh, yeah, that sounds a good idea. Let's do that.
Okay, so I also see that you have a lot of more leads here. Who dogs tend to shed more, what dogs have trouble with people, and all that kind of things. So I really think that this is very valuable. So if you join to the newsletter, we're gonna send all the list of breeds, not just who's knows how you say that, thrill
or
more, who's
schools. Yeah.
who snores more, but we're also gonna have who tend to shed more, what they have more troubles with with people and allergies. So you're gonna have a whole list of different breeds of dogs in the newsletter. Just to finish a little bit with that because
So you want to go on to how to pet proof your home.
yeah, let's do that.
All right. I think that's really important. So we want to make your space safe for her or him. So everyday household items, of course, can pose a risk.
Mhm.
where they could be curious with their paws and their teeth and their claws, and they can get into trouble really quickly.
Yeah.
Taking a few like steps to pet proof your home, you'll create like a safe environment for them,
Mhm.
let them grow, and then you'll be protecting your belongings from
Yeah.
damage from them, of course.
I mean, and I want to say something there. I want to jump there and
Yeah.
interrupt because I want to say, no matter how much you prove your house for pets, some of your belongings are going to be damaged at the beginning. That always happen, especially when you're starting letting your dog alone at home. They're gonna get very creative sometimes. Nico destroyed my house like 5 times, and I guess I did a really good job home proofing and dog proofing my house. And even though that way he's and I have a couple of stories that we can discuss later. But yeah, it's that's something I will say again. Patience is the key, and that's gonna happen. It's inevitable. No matter how well you're doing, you're gonna lose some of your belongings. So that's something you need to know before. You need to be ready to for that to happen.
Exactly. And we want to minimize that risk as much as possible for you. And supervision at the beginning is important. I know it's not possible. Of course, you have to go to work, you have to do things in your life. But, if you can, that's the best time to maybe, if you're going to adopt a pet, maybe choose a time that you're going to spending more time with them at home to supervise them. But the first thing you want to do is see the home through your pet's eyes. Home looks, smells, and completely different to your pet as it does to you. So try and getting down to their level and looking around, like literally go down to the eye level as your dog or cat, and then try to see what is the things that they can see or maybe smell when they're getting into your home for the first time. So
Oh,
what
that's
my
nice.
caster,
I
yeah,
never did that, but that's something I will do when
that's
we get another.
it's something I never really thought about until doing research for this episode. What are things that they could chew or knock over or get stuck in? What are potential dangers within the reach? Then setting up off limit areas is important. The areas in the house that have valuable furniture, rugs, or items that you like to protect from them, make those places off limits at first.
Yeah, like for example with Nico, when I live at home, I mean I live in an apartment in downtown, so it's not a lot of space for a husky. So, but I am also, and probably we're gonna talk about that later. But for some reasons about Nico's background, I don't like to crave him because when I adopted him, he was like the first 6 months of his life, he was all the time on a crave. He never was allowed to go out. So he has really big troubles about socializing. So that's something personal. I don't say trade training is fine or good or wrong. That's something that we can discuss later. I know you have that subject ready for today's episode. So the thing, what I want to go with that is like, I don't like to let Nico in the crave, so I need to find a solution for him to be in the house. And that's when I install like kind of baby gate all around my kitchen. And that way, when I leave, I let Nico use in the kitchen. So that way, if he wants to destroy something, that will be the things that I have in the kitchen. And he doesn't want to have access to the living room or to my bedroom or to the bathroom when there is a lot of more things that he can destroy, like my computer or my TV or my couch. So that's something you also can see, or also something you can think. Where do you want your dog to be around in your house? If you don't want to crave them, or if at least in the moment when you're not 100% checking on your dog, for example, when they are so puppies. I built for other dogs that I have in my mom's house. We built like a small fence. I don't know if that like a baby fence in
Mhm.
the living room, and then they have used a little smell of a little space of the living room when they can stay. That
Yeah.
way, if they're gonna destroy, it's gonna be just things that are in this place, and it's not just destroy. It's just like safe environment. So when we can take care of the dogs, we take them out of the fence, we take them out and let them run out freely from the house. But if we're not in a mood that we can stay 100% looking at them, they go back to the fence, or Nico go back to the kitchen, and I close the baby gates. What do
Yeah.
you think about that?
I like that idea. Like playpens, crate can be a very helpful thing. I think the important thing, so we call that a sanctuary space for a crate. Sometimes that's kind of like their room. Like if you have a
Mm-hmm.
teenager and you want to have a room so that
Yeah.
they have a place to go when they can rest and be away from other people.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of same thing with the teenager. One of the things is trying to make that sanctuary space a place that they enjoy. And we can, I think I have some notes here about how to desensitize them to try to get them to enjoy that place. as
Mhm.
a sanctuary for them. So that's definitely a great idea. Small dogs can do really well in a playpen.
Okay. And what things should you have? And I'm sorry, I know I'm throwing your research, but what things you should have on that sanctuary place? What they
Uh,
should, how that should
sure.
looks like?
Oh yeah, you can get something like a chew toy, and I can talk about what type of chew toys will be best for
Yeah.
your dog. Not all chew toys are made the same, so some are better than others. And you can start with treats, something at first, a comfy bed that they will hopefully will not destroy.
Mhm.
And I think it's important to try to, at first, they might be attached to you. So
Mhm.
slowly make it less, increase the amount of time that you're in distance from you slowly so that you're not making it like, okay, here's this place, I'm leaving. No,
Mhm.
like you have to make it maybe a slow transition so that they can be more accustomed to that. But yeah, I think those are the most important things. Something that they can distract them, like a chew toy. And
Mhm.
then maybe a high value treats if as long as they're not getting too much treats.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is gonna help accidents like chewing or house soiling, like pooping or peeing,
Mhm.
and other problems while they're adjusting at home.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that goes with the off limit, setting up those off limit areas. If they're even if they're not going to these areas that are off limits, you can
Mhm.
still pet proof these areas just in case they get in there without you knowing, of course. So you can use like a walk through pet gate or like a baby gate. That's a simple solution to keep them out.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like, this in my house, this is my kitchen is like here, and then on one side it has the bathroom, and then in
Mhm.
the other side of the house is the rest of the house, the living room, my bedroom. And then when I just get Nico, I get like this roller. I don't know if you have seen that. If you're looking for baby gates or something like that, or pet gates in Amazon, you're gonna find that. And it's like a thing that you install in one corner, and then in the other side is like a kind of hook, and then you can take out, it is like a roller fence then you can unroll and then hook in the other side, and then you have like you close that front. The beginning it works pretty well until Nico learned how to crawl down the right, because it's like a kind of textile. I don't know how to say. It's like a kind of cloth. It's not like super tough.
Yeah.
So Nico learned fast how to grow below that, like how to crawl below. And it ends up with him getting into the bathroom one day. And it was the same day that my grandmother, I don't know what he has with my grandmother, but everything that my grandmother brings, that's something he wants to show. So my grandmother has her makeup at my bedroom, at my bathroom. And we left because I invite her to get like some lunch. So we get out to have some delicious lunch. And when we come back, we find Nico like in his grave because he know that he did something wrong. And everything looks perfect, but then I start realizing that Nico has his mouth red. His paws were so red too. I say like, wait a minute, what is going on? And then I look to the bathroom and he crawled below that fence, go to the bathroom and take all the makeup of my grandmother. And he was like a kind of clown with his mouth super red. It was hilarious, like see him like that. I didn't take a picture because at that moment I was so mad because it wasn't not my things, it was my grandmother things, and I have to pay for them. And at the same time, yeah. But then when I think back, it was so funny. Man. Like this dog was like ready for a party. It was, but and then I discovered that kind of baby gates are not the best one for dogs because they can crawl down the clothes. So I get new ones that are like real steel fences. I don't know, it's real, and so far he didn't pass through those gates.
Yeah,
But yeah, you need to find something that is tough enough to keep your dog in the places when you want them to be. If you don't
exactly.
want to get home and find them, they are made up and ready
Yeah.
for party.
Oh my gosh. And I'm sorry to have to. That's was your grandma upset?
No, she was so happy because I was going to buy her makeup. She was like, "Oh yeah, let's dance Sephora."
Nice, nice. Well, I'm sorry to have to, then. That's
Yeah, that's
terrible.
fine. I have many stories like that, and not just with Nicola. I had another dog in Colombia that her name was Gabriela. Like we
Mhm.
called her Gabi. That was a dog that I adopted before I came here to the United States. In Colombia, I live like in a house of two different floors. And then in my second floor, we have like a rooftop, like something like when we can go and take the sun, something like that. And I decided to do my own garden up there. So I have my garden. And when I get Gabby, she at the beginning was like super scared too. She was super scared though. But then she started getting more comfortable living in the second floor of the house, like away from everyone. That was only my place, so she was just with me. And she goes to the rooftop one day, and she discovered that I have potatoes planted there. And then she realized that she loves potatoes, and she take one potato out of the dirt, and I guess she just was doing what her instinct said about scarving in is like the word, like
Uh,
playing with the dirt, and then she find the potatoes.
yeah,
And after that, every time I don't look her, she was in the rooftop destroying a plant. And it was like for 3 months, every day I found a different plant destroyed. And it was a little bit harder to dog proof that place because that was her safe place. That was like her sanctuary. So
yeah,
I cannot keep her out of the sanctuary for her because it was the only place when she felt comfortable at that moment. And it was tough. But at the end she learned that she couldn't play with that
yeah.
just because I have to take all my garden out and I have to stop having plants there. So she
Okay.
hasn't he hasn't any more things to destroy. But yeah, you need to make sure, like, sometimes even when you think that the things you're doing are good and they're gonna keep your dog away or your animal away, not always. Yeah, they have like different skills. They can jump taller, like higher than you. They can crawl below the things you have. There are many things that can happen, and you need to kind of, as Victor say, like put yourself in your animal's mind and see it from a different perspective. Because sometimes what it is impossible for us to do is very possible for dogs to do.
Exactly. Oh yeah. And I'm sorry you had so many bad experience
Oh
with
no,
your
that's normal. That's
yeah.
normal, and that's actually also part of what this podcast is about. It's about patience. If you're gonna have a dog, they are not just the fluffy things that you think. They are animals, and gonna follow their instincts. And sometimes the way they explore things is by destroying it. They don't have like they don't gonna see it and read a book. They're gonna try to chew it. That's the way they are. So that's normal. That's fine. That's not totally sad. I mean, probably it's a little bit frustrating at the moment, but then when you look back, you're just gonna find it like it's fun. It's just a funny story to tell.
Yeah, exactly. And I promise you there are definitely good experience you can have with your pet too.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, obviously. But yeah, with like people listen to like, wow, you're really selling this pet thing.
No, no, no.
It's gonna
Like, for
but yeah.
example, it was very rewarding with Gabi. Like, she was a really, really sad dog. She was living in the streets for months, and when I get her, I literally get her from the streets, and she was like, you can see her bones through the skin. I mean, she was really bad, right? And I remember her having like trying to run away from every human, right?
Mhm.
And I remember that day when I take her, I take her. The first thing I did was taking her to the veterinarian. Then she has a bath. So she was like clean. She was like take care for the first time. I give her good food. I never gonna forget that moment when we get to home and I allow her to go to the second floor. And the first thing she found was my bed. My bed. The first thing she did was jump in the bed, sorry, start playing with me. She was like, "Oh, this is my bed. This is my bed. You want it? Okay, get it, get it." I never gonna forget that first time we played because it was like that same day she was running away from every human, and at that moment she gave me like she started trusting in me and wanted to play with me. And for so long, maybe that first 2 3 months, I was the only human she allows to be close by her. So you see, it's not just like bad things. I mean, things happen, but that seeing like that grateful from your dog and being like, I mean, they become your best friends and you
Yeah.
become their life. So that's something really nice. It's really cool, and it's not just the things they destroy. It's all the emotions and all the nice moments they bring to your life.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I growing up, we had a Dalmatian. He was deaf, and he never really. liked other dogs. So we had a lot of some bad experiences with like him aggression with other dogs. I
Mm-hmm.
was a little kid at the time, but it was like something that we loved that dog so much, and we know even with all those problems, we still loved, had a great experience with him. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah,
That human animal bond, it's something that's special. So I think
totally.
if you're considering to get a pet, it can definitely be worth it for your life. Not everybody's the same, and that's why it's important to consider all these things, because sometimes it's not for everybody. Sometimes with your lifestyle, you maybe have to decide, is this the right thing for me?
Mm-hmm.
And take considerations for all these things. And then going back to your question about the crate, I forgot to add in, when you're doing the crate training or choosing a crate, choose one that's big enough for them to be able to stand in and turn around in the
Mm-hmm.
crate. So it has to be big enough for that. So that's something that's important. And you don't want it too big, of course, too, because then it's not, maybe it's not as comfortable. Like they
Mm-hmm.
like to have like a nice cozy space
Mm-hmm.
to give them a sense of security and a peaceful place to relax.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
even if I say that I don't like crepes, Nico has his own crepe
yeah.
because when I just get him, that was the only place when he felt safe at the beginning in the house. So it is important for them to have like that safe place. I can say Nico's crate is big enough for him to be like lie down and roll, and he can stand up, and I guess that's more than enough.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and that's something I learned. It was a funny way to learn it, and it is sometimes dogs that doesn't like to be crave, they tend to bark a lot at the beginning when you close the gate,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
One day I was working night shift, and normally Nico sleeps in the crave with the crave closed. That's the only times of the day when he is in crave, and it's during the night. And I was working, so he was alone, and he started barking like crazy at midnight. It was like 3 a.m. and he was barking. So I have to go from my. I was lucky that I have a camera and I can hear that. So I left the work like around 3 a.m., go to my house, and that was a friend of mine in the work and told me like, just think him like a bird. If you want a bird to stop singing or stop like thinking, you just need to like cover the crave.
Mhm.
So that's something I did. I just went home. I just put like a huge blanket on top of the crave, and it was like perfect. I mean, at that moment he just stopped barking and sleep, and then I can go back and keep working. So that's something that you might need to think also. If you see that your dog is uncomfortable in the crate and is barking and screaming a lot, sometimes just by covering it, you can reinforce like that safety sensation, and it might help them to stop barking or making noises like crazy.
Exactly. Yeah, that's great tip. And I think making it a positive experience for them. You want to gradually increase the time they spend inside, just rewarding them with treats and praising them whenever they willingly go inside. This way they'll see like it's a safe and comfortable space for them. So I think that's really important too.
Mm-hmm.
So that they're not. So it's like a positive reinforcement for them. But also, like when you're settling into the home, they're learning the house rules. They can you slowly start giving them more freedom to explore these areas,
Mm-hmm.
like the off-limit areas. It can be tempting to just let them roam freely inside your home right away, but it's best to introduce them to their new environment like gradually. A cat, you might be better to feel safe, like they might feel safer in a designated room at first in your home. And this is all these things are going to prevent like the chewing and the house soiling. They might still have these things, but it's going to reduce the risk
Mm-hmm.
and or other problems. Okay.
Okay.
And then there's establishing routine. That's really important too. It's
Yeah.
really important. Before you bring your pet home, plan their daily routine with everyone in your household. You have to be considerate of other people in the home too. If you are trying to surprise somebody in the home with a new pet, I don't recommend it. If you have a spouse or a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, or a partner, don't just bring a new pet home as a surprise. You want to talk to them first. Make sure everybody's on the same page. If you have kids in the home too, talk to them too. Make sure that everybody is understanding of what their roles are with the pet, who
Mm-hmm.
has what responsibilities, who's going to take the dog or out, or who's going to clean the litter box or the cat, who's going to get the food or who's going to feed them. All these things are important to consider. So you want to make a daily routine with everyone.
Yeah,
Decide
absolutely.
in advance. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, no, no, absolutely. I guess that's super important, like to have like a responsibility list. if you're not by
Yeah,
yourself, because have a dog is a lot of, or an animal is a lot of responsibilities. And if you have someone to share, it's good to have clear like who do what thing, and that way it might prevent some conflicts to happen around the house.
exactly.
So it's very important for everyone to do, because you're gonna have, if you're gonna have a pet, you want that pet to be in your house for all their lives. You don't want to get a pet and it's gonna be, oh, it's a really nice surprise, and then after 1 or 3 months you decide you don't want that pet anymore, and then you're gonna take him out of your house, because that's not good for the animal. That's not good for you too. You're not gonna feel good after you abandon one animal.
Yeah,
So yeah, I guess it's important like that planning stage. Even if you think it is a nice surprise, it's better than you just talk about it first. You decide who's gonna have what responsibility. Because if you're bringing some animal home, you need to understand that even if they are just your pet, you are their lives. I mean, you are the humans around the animal. You are the whole world. So it's not fair with them to bring them and giving them a nice way to, or a reason to live, and then just abandon them.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finishing with that thought, I guess we are been talking now for 1 hour, almost 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
There is a lot of information more to share. So I don't know, Victor, what do you think if we do a second version of this podcast
Yeah.
in
I
in
like the
in the
idea.
in the near future?
Yeah.
And also we're gonna post a lot of extra information in the newsletter for this week.
Yeah.
So please join. You're gonna see what hazards you can have in the house, how to eliminate them. You will also see, as Victor was talking earlier, about what is the best chewy toys you can have. There is a lot also how to cat proof your house. So join to the newsletter when we're gonna be sharing all that information that we talked this today, and some of the information we didn't, that we consider that is important. And then in the future, probably in 1 month, not the next episode, but probably in the future, we're gonna have a second version of this podcast.
Totally.
So what else do you want to say? Do you have a final thought for today, Victor?
I would say like if you have doubts or anything, or if you have questions, always, talk to your veterinarian. You can call them. If you're going to talk to a veterinarian, make a list of questions. Sometimes people forget what they're going to ask. This is really important. They're there to help you, So,
Yeah. What
reach,
if we build also a list of questions you can ask to the vet
that's great.
when you're thinking you have a dog, and we send it in the newsletter.
I like the idea. Yeah,
Okay,
can we
let's do
post?
that then.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you for coming. We don't have a QA section today just because we didn't publish the first episode yet. So probably for the next week we're already gonna have at least one podcast live. So we're gonna be having for the next episode the QA question. So please feel free to go to the form in the description and give us and make us some questions. Later when we publish more episodes, we might also give in like a kind of voicemail where you can call and let us your stories or your questions. And that way then we can just come here and reproduce it, and then we're gonna listen to you too. Also, if you have some feedback, please go to the forum and give us the feedback or to the comments. See you in the next episode. We're going to be talking about Vet 101, what happened at a routine checkup in the vet with the vet. So that will be nice too. Now you're going to be able to know what happened when you bring your dog to the vet and they take your dog out of the back door. And you're going to know what is going on in that secret place that Victor knows more than us. So thank you for coming. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for staying with us. It was really nice to stay to be here to create this space. See you the next week.
See you next week.
Bye bye.